Investigators are unshaven and disgruntled and spend their lives sitting in a rented bomb, gulping black coffee, munching on burgers and spying on cheating losers. They pull down 6 bills a job, they steer away from the dames because lurking down deep inside is the ache of a heart that's broke. And the only way to ease the pain is with a shot of Kentucky's finest.
You are so melodramatic. Times have changed. Modern-day private eye Warren Mallard wants society to understand the real impact his profession is having on crime prevention and just what it takes to be a successful sleuth. Good morning, Warren.
Good morning, Warren.
Good morning. He's got a device on the table. I'm a bit concerned.
It's a small tracking device. It's a device called TrackStick. It enables us to track vehicles and products.
So you can whack that on a car, can
you? It links straight into Google Earth. It's tracked on Google Earth, and it'll give you a complete printout of time, date, even temperature.
Gosh, that's technology working for you, isn't it?
So you need to obviously conceal this somehow.
Yes, it needs to be concealed, and in some cases you need permission. So it could be on a pallet of product that is expected to be stolen,
right,
and we need to track that pallet. We need to know where it's going.
Right. And, who typically are your clients? I mean, I would imagine, as I suggested, I was being melodramatic, I was being Raymond Chandler-esque.
But you did
I had
so
2 shots of bourbon before breakfast.
Yes. Who typically would be your client?
The majority of clients for my business, Lyonswood Investigations and Forensic Group, is the corporate sector. But there are a lot of private individuals, a lot of members of the community that have things manifesting in their everyday lives. It could be a horrible neighbour that's poisoning their trees. You know, many of these matters police are not interested in.
What are some of the more bizarre ones?
Oh, look, there's some really bizarre matters that happen every day. For me, is quite bizarre. I had a fellow come to me once that had lost a ruby-haired tarantula spider. Oh, and I said, a what? And he had this photograph of it, and he was telling me how he could call it and it would come to him by name. And he had a colleague...
What was its name?
I can't remember, honestly. He had a colleague that coveted this spider who also collected these spiders, and he suspected that fellow had stolen it from him. So we had to work out a way to be invited into this other fellow's house so that we could see if he did have this ruby-haired spider.
So he could call Bob.
But the upshot of it all was that they were all illegal goods. They were all prohibited imports, these spiders, you know, and they had a house full of spiders and snakes and all sorts of things. And then there becomes an ethical situation where this person is your client, but they're really breaking the law. So, you know, there's an obligation upon you there to weigh all of that up.
Where do you sit with that?
Well, you just look, I mean, if the laws are being broken and this can affect the wildlife in Australia, I don't think there's any choice. I think you just have to report it.
To what extent are you, as a private investigator, breaking the law in doing things like this, in strapping a device to goods?
Well, we have to operate within all other laws, you see. So, for instance, if a spouse came to me and said, look, I think my husband's having an affair and I don't know where he's going, I really can't afford to have him placed under surveillance for weeks on end, is there anything else that you can help me with? I would say to that party, well, do you own that vehicle? Are you part owner in his vehicle? Is that vehicle your vehicle as well?
Okay.
Do you give me permission to place that tracking device on your vehicle?
All right, all right. So it's a matter of knowing exactly what the law is and how it works. So I'm imagining that your former career as a police officer would come in extremely handy.
It does, although I think in a public service law enforcement agency you tend to become a little schooled in laziness, and you become skilled in laziness and short-cutting, and you're a little frustrated because of budgetary constraints. I mean, we have gadgets and pieces of equipment that the police covet and are jealous of because the governments of today just won't spend the money. They don't have the money.
And I guess if you've got a huge corporate client, he's going to give you the money so that you can
We're only constrained by the corporate client's budget.
But when you find the evidence, obviously your client then wants a charge, a prosecution. Are the police willing to take your evidence and then act?
It's a major problem that we have, and I've recently had talks with the Director of Public Prosecutions about that very serious aspect, is closing in on the person, actually dealing with them after the evidence is gathered. And we find it very difficult to get police to help us to proceed with charging people, despite the fact that we have a very comprehensive brief of overwhelming evidence.
Well, why, though?
I just think that they're poorly resourced. and in some cases poorly skilled, and I think there's a drain on knowledge. You've only got to look around you today